Hello, this is David. David Joseph Raphael, Sacred Clan Tarot. Hopping on to do a message today for Scorpio. Pre-shuffle the cards. We're gonna dive into it. I'm gonna start pulling them. Yeah, I'm a Scorpio, so relatable. And let's have some fun, all right? I already shuffled and I'm gonna draw them out, all right? So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Spinning around. Slippery desk. Okay. Your underlying energy, Scorpio, is 10 of Swords at the bottom of the deck there. All right, I kind of want to tap into that energy a little bit just to see what's going on. Interesting. All right. So with the 10 of Swords, in general, it's a card of a lot of like toil and burden, having to manage or carry 10 swords. On this, I feel like it's the end of a journey, end of a long road for you, Scorpio. If you looked at this card, it kind of throws you off because it kind of gives you 2 of Swords vibes, right? Because those 2 are prominent, but all the other ones are kind of very frayed, almost like they're melted or crushed or battered. It's been a long journey, been a lot of trial, a lot of tribulations. You're still sharp, but not as, sharp, or you're not as tact, feelingly, if that's the word. You're not feeling as tact as you used to be. All right, so that's the underlying energy. All right, we're gonna dive into our first card for you, Scorpio. First card we have is Knight of Pentacles, leading the pack. Oof, drop that one. Knight of Pentacles, followed by 9 of Swords. In the center, we have Last Judgment, number 20 in the Major Arcana. Fourth, we have 2 of Pentacles. And then lastly, our 5th card, we have the Star card. Big swaggy. Excited to dive in for you. Okay, Scorpio. So we're leading off with Knight of Pentacles here. Knight of Pentacles is, I want to say looks like it's denoting Virgo energy in this case. Or that guy right there. A lot of symbology going on. So Knight card for this guy, typically the slowest moving of the knights, but firm, stable. It's material. And he's called the Lord of the Wild and Fertile Land. All right, so this is a guy who's grounded, who shows up. It's not always the quickest, it's not always the most speedy, but when it shows up, it's guaranteed, it's assured. It's moving merrily along, so to speak, all right? You've got an interesting symbol with the stag, right, with wings there. So it's almost like kind of talking about the greater divinity that can be found within our natural reality. And kind of being a knight, being tried and true, standing with resolution and purpose in your actions, all right? Showing up with nobility and accountability. So that's what we're leading in with. I don't know if that's another person's energy or yours, but from what I get the sense of, it's like your energy looking ahead or looking forward, or that's how you've looked at the situation going forward, right? We're going to dive into 9 of Swords for you. This is the Lord of Despair and Cruelty. Okay? 9 of Swords. I'm going to tap into this energy. So the 9 of Swords, I can't help but feel the connection, right? 10 of Swords that we had underlying the deck. Pretty similar layouts, except this one just has a windy, bendy sword that's most prominent in the middle. So it's not the most linear thinking, so to speak. There's logic, there's mental faculties and applications, but it's been a windy, bendy road full of challenges, mental anguish and toil, a lot of damaged swords, a lot of failed efforts, but still showing up. It's been a challenge all the way through. And I think the message that's being articulated to you here, Scorpio, is that you've stayed strong in the midst of battle, in the midst of warfare, mental anguish, trials, tribulations. You've stayed strong. All right? You find yourself now with this middle card, which is the last judgment. So I'm going to hop into that energy, if you will. Yeah. So this is something I can relate to. If you're a little bit ahead of the game, but if you're just a regular person and you're going through your world, this is probably something that's hard to avoid at this rate. So this is the last judgment card, 20 in the major arcana. Like I said, I feel like you see kind of like the world falling down all around you. It might not be your personal world or your personal sphere, but those around you, the world at large, experiences you're seeing, you can't help but see judgment. You can't help but see a world on fire. At the same time, I got the sense in this that the world is actively rebuilding while you're watching certain edifices, structures burn. Probably the ones that you've been familiar with, but now you have to see them reimagined, reshaped. And the picture isn't clear in sight, you know? Like there's no one walking around with blueprints. It's just more the generalized idea if it needs to be rebuilt, because that's what you do when things have been layered, or not layered, but leveled to the ground. Once there's been a destruction, once there's been fire. And that is the spirit of primal fire. Is the name of that card. I don't know if you can read it down there at the bottom. So the spirit of primal fire, which is wildfire, like carnage, primal, like the most natural form of it taken, but the spirit of primal fire. In that fire is renewing energy, it's cleansing, it's purifying, and that's happening on a grand and major scale. And though the fires are unwieldy, they're unruly, I hope you know that you're safe. I think you have a sense of it, because you are part of the purifying process, especially if you're getting this message from me. You wouldn't be able to receive or understand what I'm articulating unless there's some purity and sacredness to your soul to begin with. But you're standing resolute, even though it looks like everything's crumbling down around you. And you can't help but see the shadows, but you can't help but see the shadows because you're a part of the light too. Materialized here in this physical form, it's kind of hard sometimes to separate us, to see, embrace the light aspects of ourselves. But know that you're embodying the light, and you will cast shadows on a physical world, if that makes any sense. So shadows will be exposed. There's a lot of darkness that you have to wade through. But in identifying the darkness, identifying the ignorance, the lack thereof light, you can better understand, better embody, and better commune with the light itself, if that makes any sense at all. We're going to dive into the Two of Pentacles here. And that is the Lord of Harmonious Change. All right. This speaks to, I guess, the redistribution of balance. If you've lived in a world lately, you've seen that the world is kind of, there's a lot of disharmony, dysregulation, disease. There's a lack of balance in the average human, but also how we relate to one another and how we exist in this world. What's being restored is that balance. It's a divine methodology. It's a slow process. It's a humbling process for our human beingness, our species, our collective psyche, if you will. And this is one of the more simplistic cards, just the Two of Pentacles. It's usually shown in the Rider Waite as a little guy balancing 2 coins. This one's a little bit darker, but this is a positive energy. It doesn't feel good when things need to be recalibrated or balanced. Like you think about, I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking about like getting a car back into alignment, so to speak, or doing a tire rotation. Things are out of whack, so they need to be rebalanced. And the only force that can really do that is divinity, the Holy Spirit's influence itself. And that's what's happening. And it's the balance that you're being asked to recognize. Is if you can find balance within yourself, then you can walk sure-footed in a world that is off-kilter, that is unbalanced. As long as you have the balance yourself, you shouldn't have any problem walking through this mess. So while you walk through this, know to hold on to this, to walk with balance through it, through the darkness, through the muck, through the mire, and you'll be delivered. And that's what brings us to the star here at the end, the last card. And that is the daughter of the firmament. Interesting. Never heard that expression of it before. Daughter of the firmament. Okay. I'm going to tap into this energy force. This is hope restored. This kind of gives me temperance vibes too. But I guess that's not where we're at. This is card 17, the star. This is hope for a brand new day, for love restored, for imagination made manifest. Like there's so much being communicated in this card with all the symbolism. It's a lot of circular imagery, but a lot of, I don't know how to put it, holistic integrity, the communion of water and spirit, the ether. This is like the Kabbalah symbol right here, tree of life. So figuring that out in lightness and dark. And you also have all the zodiac signs right there. The 12 months, the 12 signs, and all that coming full circle. But this is not the world card. It's not the Wheel of Fortune or anything like that. This is about recommitting to the mysteries of the sacred feminine that give us inspiration in our creative endeavor, that reignite a passion to be here on earth, to look upon a star, to wish upon a star, to have hope, to gaze, to ponder, to wander, to be illumined by the idea of a greater whole. And that's what you're being called to focus on, Scorpio. You are already grounded, I think, which is like the kudos to you and why you're receiving this Knight of Pentacles. I think there's room for improvement, obviously. And like a tree, right? So like you're grounded, your roots are solid, but you're being asked to overcome, right? To grow higher, to ascend to higher levels and layers and pastures. You're a tree that's extending up and towards the stars, all right? And as you grow, right, and your leaves, your branches extend out toward the light of our star, which is the sun, you'll become even more rooted because the further you reach up, the deeper that your roots go down. So it's an equal give and take. As you express yourself outward and upward, you find yourself more rooted in your physical reality. All right? So you already have a good root foundation. And it's saying that you can press on higher and higher into the higher realms of spirit with confidence, knowing that you will find yourself even more rooted in the reality. Although it doesn't look pretty, the higher you stretch up, the more grounded you are down. You will have balance, across both layers and dimensions. And you will not have to fear the Last Judgment because you are part of the Last Judgment. Your divinity, your sanctity, your light is a part of what exposes the shadow. All right? That's the message. Very etheric for you today, but you can handle that over some more signs, the more nebulous ideas out there. All right, Scorpio, I hope this made sense to you. I'm sending you love, positivity, all that goodness. We'll check in soon, but you got this. You're one of the realest, all right? Much love, peace, peace. Until next time, do good and fuck shit up in the best way.